I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go.
Y'all, I was so excited that Brandon Banfield, he took the stand today. And we are not going to watch all of it. So if you want to go back and watch all of his testimony, you can. I believe Emily D. Baker is going to be covering it. I don't know if she'll get to it today because I know she's doing trials days 7 and 8 today. I was over with Paul on reporting live from my sofa. I was also in and out of courtroom TV, court TV's chat as well. If you know nothing about this case, please check out. I have prior videos down below and a description talking about the overview of this case. So, Brendan Banfield took the stand, and it was like I expected. To me, he comes off like a very intelligent person, but he thinks that we're the dumb ones. Like, he thinks we're like, he's like, why would I have planned this on a day that I had a major work? Like, we had an undercover investigation happening. Why would I plan this on that day? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, of course you would plan it, or allegedly, of course a person might plan it on this very important day just to make that exact argument. They finally released that poor expert that was the defense expert going through all of the data. That expert thought that he could find information that disproved the whole catfish theory. I really didn't buy, because to me, you can't explain the content of the FetLife account. So the content of the FetLife account was that account did not want to meet with people before the first meeting. That account did not want to meet with people at a hotel. That account specifically wanted the person to bring, like, the murdery, that account wanted the person to bring all of these things, and that is super suspicious to me. So even if Christine was home every single time that account was accessed, the suspicious thing to me is, why is Christine's phone in the kitchen and not upstairs where, like, if you're going to have this type of encounter, to me, like, if you're going to plan something like that, you're going to have safety things in place. And so, like, I just can't. Hey to everybody that's coming in. We are going to hop into this. Court Confidential Trials covers it as well. I will be on the Courtroom Confidential, their main channel, tonight in just 2 hours, less than 2 hours. And so we are not going to review his entire testimony. I do want to watch him take the stand. I missed this part. So I was, what was I doing? I was in sessions. Or I was in between sessions. I went I went to the grocery store. That's where I was. Question. He was totally blah and factual regarding family and his 0 age child. He did make that statement. Instead of saying the months old, he said 0 age. I think he's a very analytical person in general, and I think that came off, but he seems like a mastermind to me, but I'm not a neutral person. This all seems super suspicious to me, and oy, oy. Uh, all right. So let me go on ahead and make myself small, and we will watch him take the stand.
All right. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law? Thank you.
It's good.
Sir, can you say your name and spell your name for the court reporter? Brendan Banfield, BrendanBanfield.
And Brendan, how old are you?
40.
And you were married to Christine Banfield, correct?
Yes.
And how long were you and Christine together?
We were together since we were 18.
And
So that part was new to me. Him and Christine being together since they were 18 years old. So they were likely one another's first real long-term relationship. To me, a lot of his testimony and talking about how much he loved her and that they were everything to one another. This is, of course, before they get to the Juliana affair and the fact that he's had multiple affairs. Yes, he is currently 40 years old. I believe he was 37 at the time of this incident. He was 37. He's 40 now. But with this, oh, and I have him on a bad pause. Sorry, not sorry. With this testimony, when he was talking about Christine, it made me a little sick to my stomach, but I did listen to it all. And he talked about them going hiking. The defense entered all of these pictures, and the state initially went along with it. So the state let the defense enter like 20. It was a whole bunch of pictures. I didn't count. It seemed like 20. It might have been 10 or 15. They entered a whole bunch of pictures of them going on cruises and them doing a mud run and like all of these pictures of them doing all of these things. But at some point, the state objected to relevance because we're not here to we're here to talk about what happened on February 24th. And we're here to talk about like what happened between him and Juliana and all those things. But that, I'm not a lawyer. We're just here for this part. I'll play a little bit more of this and then skip ahead.
how did you meet?
We met freshman year at college at Quinnipiac University.
I've never heard of that.
Now, you're, where are you originally from?
I am from Long Island, New York.
And is that where you grew up?
Yes, I lived there the majority of my life.
Now, what prompted you to come down to Virginia?
I received a promotion from my job with the Internal Revenue Service. I previously was a tax compliance officer, and I received a promotion to special agent with IRS criminal investigation.
Okay, we'll get back to that later.
I forgot to mention they also entered a picture of him receiving some award. They entered that picture into evidence. And this is where, like, to me, he seems to be trying to make himself look like the type of person that would never do this thing, but he almost goes overboard in my personal opinion. Okay. So there is no, just like don't do crimes, but get the divorce, because he's going to try to say that he told Juliana that the affair, that it was just an affair, like all the other affairs that he had before. And he also clarifies that he does not think that Christine knew about the affair with Juliana. He's also going to try to allege that Christine had affairs too. But he went all the way back to 2013. So when they asked him about any potential affair for her, he's going to say 2013. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true at all. He didn't completely bash her on the stand, but I think that's because Juliana said that he thought she was a bad mother and he didn't want to have to share custody with her. And so I think he was trying to clear up that narrative. Because remember, this man has been taking copious notes, a ridiculous amount of notes, and he's going to throw out places where he doesn't think the evidence fits the version that he's going to tell today. That's my own person. Now, he says he's telling the truth, but like liars convince and truth tellers, they convey, like they just tell. When you're telling the truth, you just say it. He seemed to be working so hard to convince us that he loved his wife, he wanted what was best for his kid, but it came across weird to me, but that's just my own personal thoughts. Okay? We're going to skip ahead to when he talks about like him teaching his daughter math. We're going to play that part. I think it's further back. Okay. So he's talking about him and his daughter and things that, and remember the defense called him and they're the ones leading this part of the testimony. I believe these are, I don't know for sure, but court TV kept zooming in, or the courtroom feed kept zooming in on the gentleman in the jacket with the button up and the woman in the sweater. And so I think those may be Christine's parents. I don't know that for sure, but the court pool kept zooming in on those. Oh, that's on the defendant's side. Maybe it's his mom, because that's on the other side. They might have been zooming in on his mom. That might be his mom and dad. I don't know for sure. Complete speculation for who those two people are. Okay.
Doing pretty well.
Okay. Now, how old is Valerie now?
Valerie's should be 8 in March, so 7 currently.
Okay. And do you, since this situation has started, do you have contact with her?
Yes, I talk to her basically every day by video chat, often.
Now, it's okay that a parent is smiling and happy about talking about being able to talk with their child every day. It's weird to me with the situation he's in, because he's currently incarcerated. The jury doesn't know that he's in custody, I don't think. I don't think that the jury, well, he said it's on a tablet, so I guess he's disclosed that he's not among the rest of us. But okay. Because there is a child endangerment charge. And I guess because he's incarcerated, any contact that he has would be supervised, because it's on the call. Like it's recorded. Wow. Okay. And the reason why I believe that was his parents, so is because they're sitting on the defense side. So normally the victim's parents would sit behind the prosecution. They would normally be on the prosecution side. The courtroom is pretty empty today. So Virginia, we still have a whole bunch of snow. The roads are mostly clear. Some of the back roads aren't as clear. Some schools are still out in Northern Virginia. They are going to be having court on Friday. And so he did not get through all of his testimony today. Yeah, he gets to talk to his daughter every day, but not, and you're on trial for, okay, but we're going to get back to this. Let's go.
Often also by phone.
Now, when she was younger, what kind of involvement did you have with her education?
I spent a lot of time on her education. I guess I've spent a lot of time teaching math over the years, and even from before she was in preschool, I spent a lot of time basically what I would call numerical fluency, starting with counting and moving up through. I've currently been working with times tables with her, which is above grade level. So I've been doing math work with her basically from 2 until present. But I also monitor quite a bit of what work she does at school. And with this, I spend a lot of time reading with her, and we do, I guess I would say that I make, I call them activity pages, but essentially they're like crossword puzzles and word searches, rhyming words, or consonant combinations, such as like ST or CK. And then I'll give a description of a word, and then the word will the word will match. So if it was,
So I think all the things he's saying right now, because the state can cross-examine on anything he brings up. So the fact he's bringing up that he's having all of this involvement with his daughter, the state might ask the question. I don't know that they will, but they'll be like, what about Christine? What about Christine's? I like the state might have some follow-up questions based on what he's saying, because they do object some. So with all the pictures, because the defense eventually shifts, because I'm going to skip over the pictures because we don't get to see them. And because when the first picture went up, the state was almost gonna object, but they were just like, why are we doing this? But they sat back and they let all those pictures come in, and then it got to about picture number between 15 and 20. It was a whole bunch of pictures. Trust me, I'm saving you for it if you haven't watched it. I don't know for sure, so it's speculation for who has custody of the child right now. In Virginia, his parental rights haven't been terminated, and if social services does not have custody, and I don't think social services would have taken the child into custody. I think it was up to him because he still has parental rights. And so when a parent is incarcerated in Virginia, they often get to choose where the child goes. If there's an issue with that placement, then that can become a thing. I wonder how involved Christine's parents have been, because he's going to say that either his mom or Christine's mom would come down every other, like, once a month, every 4 to 6 weeks, and stay for between 5 to 10 days. And so I wonder how involved Christine's family has been since then. But I'm gonna let him keep going oops, I closed it out. The tab closed. Just give me a moment to reopen the tab. Let's see. And good. I think it saved my space too. So that's good. All right. Oy, did it do it? Hold on. Technical difficulties. It's one of those days. I normally don't go live on a Wednesday. Thank you all for being here. I'm Dr. Barry. I'm a licensed psychologist. Here we talk about psychology and true crime. We are reviewing testimony that just happened today and going through this. All right, so let me share my screen and we can get back into talking about him making worksheets. That's what we're talking about right now. Okay.
actually they're like crossword puzzles and word searches, rhyming words, or consonant combinations such as like ST or CK. And then I'll give a description of a word, and then the word will match. So if it was like TR, and this is a plant that grows tall, she might write tree, and things like that, so that she would work additionally on whatever letter combinations they're currently working on in school as additional practice. I do a lot of design work for that also.
Okay, and you're designing these things for her to be able to continue kind of working with you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about things like science and engineering and all that sort of thing? Did you ever get into any of that with?
So I'm gonna skip over this part. I think he has her build with Legos. So I think he wanted this part of the testimony to be in there. I've seen a lot of questions. So a lot of people are not a fan of his defense attorney. I think the defense attorney is doing what his client wants. Now, there was some point in the back and forth where the defense attorney is saying the child's name and asks like when she was invited to the family, and the judge is confused as well. And the judge was like, I think you mixed up somebody's name. But instead of saying when the child was born into the family, I think the defense attorney said invited. I'm a person that gets stuck on my words, and so I don't judge that. And it did seem like he was actually talking about the child, and he was trying to talk about how the couple's life changed after the birth of their daughter, but the defense attorney can be a little confusing at times. And there are going to be times when the defense attorney asks a question, and I think Brendan instead answers what he would like to say because the way it's asked, because maybe it's being asked about the wrong day, or I don't know. Like sometimes Brendan, I think, answers the question that he wants to give. And so I do think he's been a very active participant in his defense. And I don't think that Brendan is unhappy. I don't know if he's unhappy or not. And any person can claim like ineffective assistance of counsel, but it has to be something major. It can't just be like your lawyer, like, like it should have been like they should have objected here, or there has to be clear that they were really ineffective. I think his lawyer is doing exactly what he wants him to do. Those are just my thoughts. Because this defense has felt like an IRS audit. It just has felt like tedious, mundane. I'm bored out of my mind. Like I wanted Detective Miller was finally cleared from his what's the word? He was on call. Detective Miller was released from his subpoena because poor Detective Miller was still under subpoena. So like Detective Miller doesn't have to come back ever again. And they did that at the end of today. Like it's been so much. I do believe that he is a private attorney because remember, Brendan's mother paid for Juliana's lawyer. And so my personal suspicion is I wonder if Juliana's lawyer would have been his first choice. I don't know that for sure. Complete speculation. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that if Brendan's mom paid for Juliana's lawyer, now once Juliana flipped, of course, Brendan's mother stopped paying, but that attorney continued to represent her anyway. And I believe he was present in court for her testimony. There's a lot of speculation. Will Juliana be recalled based on anything he says? But I don't know that she'll have to clear anything up. I don't know that she has a lot of credibility. So I don't know that they would bring her back. They might bring other experts regarding the actual like facts of how his testimony might not fit with the actual evidence. I could see them doing that. I don't know if they would bring Juliana back because you would also open her up to cross examination. Poor justice for Detective Miller. He will never attribute a device to a person ever again. He will never ever make that mistake. All right. And so was I done with this section? Let me see. Let me just make sure I was done with this part.
We always did quite a bit of Legos, basically
Yeah, I was
starting at like 2.
Same. So like my son was trying to do a science experiment earlier today. Okay. All right. Let me find the next spot. All right. So we're about to get into another part of the testimony.
So in terms of your contact with Juliana, describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what kind of contact would you have on a daily basis prior to having a relationship?
Prior to having a relationship, it was mostly logistical. I may inform her when I was going to get home from work, if I had any delays, making sure that Valerie was getting to, say, dance lessons if Christine and I were not available then. Juliana would generally bring Valerie to preschool on the days that she was working. And we might just talk about activities for her to do with Valerie on days that they were working.
Okay. About to get into the affair.
And when was it that this turned from a working relationship to something else?
In August of 2022.
Okay. Describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how that happened.
So in August, Juliana and I were home alone.
He seems so nervous. Doesn't he seem nervous? But I think he knows this part makes him look bad. So I think he was comfortable talking about how much he loved his wife, playing Legos with his daughter. This part gets a bit uncomfortable because Juliana is is saying it's okay to call her mom. Is it the next day? I don't know. It's very soon after. Like, so I'm gonna keep myself big for this part because I'm probably gonna interrupt him a lot. So if you haven't seen the testimony, if you've seen it, please don't vote. But if you haven't seen the testimony, do you think he's gonna say he hit on Juliana or that Juliana hit on him? Which one do you think? If you haven't seen the testimony, who do you think came on to who first?
I had to work on both Saturday and Sunday. So I believe the original day was a Friday. Christine and Valerie were in New York, and Juliana started texting me while I was preparing food in the kitchen. It was an unusual line of text as she was complaining about.
Let me, if I may just
Sure.
interrupt. Where was she and where were you in the house?
I was in the kitchen. I believe she was upstairs in her room.
Okay, sorry. Please go. Continue.
It was a unusual text conversation in terms of that Juliana was complaining about her dating activity and the people that she was seeing at the time. I don't particularly like texting, and I think I basically said that if she wanted to talk, that she could come to the kitchen.
Okay, and what, if anything, happened?
At that point, Juliana showed me quite a few screenshots of her dating app. I believe it was Hinge, and the people that were in the Hinge app.
So this part seems humorous to him. Okay, so he's about to get into a part of the testimony and why he would choose to include this. My non-on trial brain does not get it. But we'll just let it play and we'll talk about it. Like, he's sitting here like this is humorous to him. Thinking back about this part of it.
All had similar names to me. Their names were Brendan and Brandon and Brennan. And these were people that she had matched with on the app.
And so, and how did it progress from there?
She was making quite a few jokes about it. At some point, I finished cooking and was eating. I don't believe that Juliana actually ate dinner at the same time. We talked about other unrelated things. Talked about there was some family history of alcoholism and how her family in Brazil was dealing with that. And we'd spent maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours talking about some random things, but also about her dating history. During this time, when she was talking about different people, she was described people that she was interested in, people that were taller, people that were older. And it appeared to me that she was, along with the photos, that the screenshots that she had shown me of people that she had matched with, that she was basically describing me.
I don't know how much of this he went over with his lawyer, but my recommendation would be don't seem to be like still infatuated and happy and giddy over the person that you had the affair with and how supposedly she came on to you. I don't know if that's true. Like, I could imagine that he was like staring at her, that he could have been looking at her, that there might have been some glances. What he describes, I don't know that that's how something would really start. Like how she's text all of a sudden, she out of the blue texts him something about her dating life. They talk in person, but I never looked at her before. Like, I don't know that it started there. But I think this was the story that he wanted to tell to the jury. I don't know that for sure. So for speculation. Okay, we like to speculate here. So I think he is being careful about what he says. I think he's planned in his mind what he wants to say. I think he has a general idea of the types of questions that his lawyer is going to ask. And I think he's let his lawyer know the types of things that he wants to make sure comes out in his testimony. I think he knew this question was coming, and I think he prepared what he was going to say. His testimony comes off methodical to me. I could be wrong, but like it comes off, and the details he includes, it's like, why do we need to know that it was her Hinge dating app? But he includes the details. I don't know. It comes off rehearsed, and a defendant on trial should be thinking of what they're going to say. So anytime I have to testify in court as an expert witness, I do prepare my testimony. I think about things. I have things prepared, but he came off more like an expert witness than a defendant to me at times. Like at times when he was testifying, it was, I would almost forget that this is the defendant. Like, this isn't the technology expert or the crime scene analyst. Like, this is the defendant. So I don't think they had a cleaning lady. I think there might have been light housekeeping. I don't think it was heavy housekeeping. He mentioned, I skipped over the part. So I will talk about the part I skipped over. So she came to the home October of 2021. And it was through an agency called Cultural Care. And she would provide childcare for the family, and they would provide room and board. And she could take educational opportunities at a community college, because sometimes they get them to the US on a student visa. Like, and I don't know what type of visa she had. I heard that there might have been something with her visa application. Because the state, I think, was going to look at her. If she didn't flip, I think they were going to look at her visa, and did she do any crimes in that aspect of it. And she could work up to 45 hours per week, and would provide a loving environment. So these were his words. His words during his testimony was that the au pair is supposed to provide a loving environment. I'm saving some questions so I can come back as you all ask questions. The loving environment part, I wonder if any of the jurors wrote that part down or looked at each other. Welcome to anybody that's new. Okay. So going back through some of my notes, Christine was working 12-hour days, and his work schedule was it wasn't regular, and it was difficult to have traditional daycare. It did come up, I think at the time of this incident, I believe the child was in preschool. Because we hadn't really heard about the child going to daycare, because at 4 years old, sometimes you are doing preschool, because she was almost 5. At 5 years old, she would be in kindergarten full time. So it did come up that I believe she was in preschool. and that Juliana would work when Christine was at work. And then if Christine was on her days off, Christine would do like she would take care of, like Juliana would be off on Christine's days off. All right. We got to that part. Oh, he's going to mention previous affairs. So let's see if we get there quickly. Let's see if we get there.
Also, I guess when we were having this conversation, we were sitting at the island in the kitchen, and she scooted her seat closer to mine a couple times.
And so what did you do at that point?
I did not stop her advances. At some point, I told her that I was going to go upstairs, indicating that I was going to go to bed. And she said that she was tired and that she was going to do the same. A little bit of information about the upstairs of my house. Once you go upstairs, the master bedroom is to the left, and all the other bedrooms are to the right. So her bedroom, a guest bedroom, and Valerie's bedroom are to the right. When I went upstairs, I went to the left, and she also took a step towards the left with me. And we had a brief conversation there, and then she came with me into my bedroom.
They're not going to give more details.
Did you ever talk to her either that night or later about a continuing relationship?
We did not talk that night about continuing a relationship. We did talk about, I would say, in the next few days, I guess we spoke a little bit about the relationship. She had indicated that she was concerned that I was going to tell Christine and that she was going to be essentially fired. And
so we talked on a previous stream. I think it was my first stream covering this case. It was either the first or the second. I talked about the harm that au pairs. So Juliana was a willing participant in this. Individuals that come as au pairs, they can be at risk of harm by their employer because there is this power difference. And it's probably in the contract that they're not supposed to have a relationship. Like, it's probably like, because it can cause issues and problems, of course. And but it's interesting that he's bringing this up, that she was concerned that he would tell Christine, and he's going to go on. We'll listen.
Sent back and lose her job.
And get sent back to Brazil.
Which I indicated that I wasn't going to tell her.
Okay. Did you tell her anything about what had just happened and what that was?
Yes, I mean, that would be that we were having an affair. I had also indicated to her that I had previous affairs. And that really this was just an affair, and not that there would be no other relationship, that there's, and that basically that this is something that I have had affairs previously, and that there's nothing that changes in mine and Christine's relationship.
Now, was Christine
a potential better strategy? So the strategy he's going with is I didn't know anything at all about the FetLife account, and that Christine did all of this. Christine set this up and it went bad and he saved her. Like he not saved her, but he unalived Joe Ryan out of concern for what was happening to Christine. I don't think that's true, but this is the story he's going with. To me, this statement right here, that this was just an affair, he was never going to leave Christine, that to me proves that divorce was not an option. If he wanted to be with Juliana, if he wanted to not be with Christine, he was not going to divorce her. So I think this might have backfired a little bit for him. I don't know. I could be wrong. But the fact that he was saying this was just an affair, he was always going to be with Christine. But were you? I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep it going.
Aware of your affair?
I don't believe she was aware of the affair between me and Juliana.
Was she aware of your previous affairs?
She was aware of at least 2 previous affairs.
Okay. And likewise, were you aware of her affairs?
Yes, I was also aware that she had affairs.
Okay. And how did the two of you manage in your relationship moving forward with those facts?
So I guess in about 2013, it was found that we had quite a few discussions. At that point, Christine was working at the private healthcare, and she would travel for work for an entire week at a time, basically. And during this time,
So this might be true. I don't know. Or he's not liking how this makes him look. Because so he's going to try to say that she had an affair when she was traveling for work. I sense a little bit of anger in his voice when he's talking about this. I don't know if it's, so they did not have an open relationship. So there's some couples that agree to have an open relationship, that we are the main, like we protect the main relationship, and we agree that you can have other relationships, just don't, sometimes there are rules of don't be in the house, don't like cancel plans with me to be with that person, don't fall in love. Like sometimes there are certain boundaries, or so some people agree to have an open relationship. Don't meet with the same person more than 3 or 4. I don't know. Like sometimes there are boundaries that the couple sets up. They did not have an open relationship. He's admitting that at least on his side, he had affairs. I don't know if I agree on hers, but I think he might have maybe suspected that she had affairs, but I don't know. Like, because he's not going to give us any proof, because he went back to 2013, something that, like, it wasn't like one of our other recent cases where, yes, where the wife's lover did testify on the stand, like she was, and there's nothing. So that's not shaming her because her husband was ridiculous. Y'all, if y'all can tell me the name of that trial, it's the one that went to Lowe's and had the murder aisle. Like he had ridiculous stuff in his cart, and just horrific crime. Brian Walsh. Yes, Afton, you win. Gold star for Afton. Silver star for you. Yes, Brian Walsh case. So in that case, there was clear signs. Yes, she was clearly having an affair. I think she was making plans to leave him, which made there be motive. Because some people have said, why isn't the state calling Christine's friends, or why aren't they calling more people? Based on some of his testimony, I don't know if they're going to try to rebut any of this. I don't know how much of this the jury is buying, but we're going to let him go on for just a little bit longer before we skip ahead.
Would not be available to come home. Her shift was literally the entire week. So we were separated a lot. My job, I wasn't in at my previous position, but my job also required some travel. I spent about 6 months in Jacksonville. I spent another month in Kansas City, and I was living in New York, but I also spent some time here in the DC area. So we were both traveling quite a lot for work. And I guess that was poor for our relationship at that point. We had gone to therapy. We went to couples therapy for several months. And we had decided that we were going to continue our marriage.
So now back to 2022. You and Juliana were having an affair outside of the knowledge of Christine.
Yes.
And how did that look on a daily basis?
He's not really going to be able to answer that. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to 6:58:20, because he does get into the day of the crime a little bit. So this incident occurred on February 24th, 2023. And he supposedly had a very important meeting that day. He couldn't possibly do a crime on the day that he has a very important meeting. But
So what time did you wake up that morning?
February.
I believe I woke up 6:30.
Okay. And do you remember whether or not Christine was up?
Christine I had seen seemed to be awake and on her cell phone when I was getting ready and taking a shower to get ready for work.
Okay.
State, I need you to find the evidence. Was there any activity on Christine's phone before 6:30, around 6:30? Because I suspect that Christine was asleep. I suspect that she was asleep. I don't know that she was on her phone. I could be wrong. I don't think she was. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Now, did you have any sort of interaction with her at that time?
Yes, she was aware that I had this meeting that day. She wished me luck. She said that she would talk to me before I headed to New York with Valerie. Told me she loved me and have a good day.
Okay, so you carried on with your morning. What did that entail?
I went downstairs and got my work laptop out of the basement. My work from home space at that time was in the basement. I have a desk down there. It's because it's quiet. So I got my work stuff ready. I made sure that I had all of my equipment. Getting ready on a typical day would mean that I need to have my credentials, which includes my badge, my firearm, my holster, my handcuffs, two magazines, a belt clip badge, my work cell phone, and then generally I would also have my personal cell phone, my wallet, and my keys, which includes to my government vehicle.
And so you had a holster that would hold the gun?
Yes.
And to what side was that holster?
It's on the right because I'm right-handed.
Okay, and so presumably you're putting it in the right and the gun comes out of it on the right side?
Correct.
Okay. Now, who else was up when you, and what else was going on in the house that you were involved with?
I know Juliana was downstairs when I came upstairs from getting my work stuff out, my work laptop out of the basement. I don't remember exactly what she was doing. I think she might have been getting stuff ready in the kitchen.
Let me just stop you right there. Prior to that time, which would be February 24th, had you ever taken Christine's laptop or taken her phone out of a bag near the door?
No, I don't take her laptop. I have no reason to use her laptop. I don't have access to her laptop. It's not a password that I know. I have my own work laptop. I have my own home desktop. I have my own, actually I have two cell phones. I have a personal cell phone and a work cell phone. Our devices were.
Okay, so this is not funny, okay? But he is real. I could not. I did not know her password. I did not on the chair. I did not on the couch. I did not in the house. He's just like, oh my gosh. He is so like, I did not touch her laptop. I could not have touched her laptop. I would not have touched her laptop. But I think this is the evidence that makes him look bad. And I think this is the evidence that makes him nervous. And I think we can tell that it makes him kind of nervous. And so let's keep it going.
Completely separate.
And so, in terms of, that's fine. In terms of the idea of the laptop, where it would be on a regular basis, do you have a recollection of where she would put her laptop?
Christine kept her laptop actually in several places. Sometimes it is by the front door when she gets home. She would have a backpack and she would bring the backpack and drop it off and generally go visit Valerie and our dog and me. But usually she would go upstairs and she would bring her backpack with her. And her desk is in the sitting area of our master bedroom. So if you were to go into the master bedroom, you can kind of either go left or right, and to the left is the sitting area, which is where Christine does her work and has her desk and her file and has her files for her job. And if you went to the right, it would be where the master bedroom is, and for a little bit further, the master bathroom. But she didn't also only keep her laptop at her desk. I would say the majority of her use would be sitting in bed with her back against the headboard, while she had TV on or something like that.
I do that.
And when she would be done, she might put the laptop in between her nightstand and the bed, or on the nightstand itself, or back on her desk, generally at night.
And so, and what about her phone? Where would there be a particular place where she might leave her phone?
I mean, her phone was basically always connected to her. It wasn't.
So that statement, because why was it in the kitchen? And he's going to say something very much like how the other words came out of his mouth earlier. But okay, let's keep it going, Brendan.
Her phone wasn't really away from her basically ever. I mean, she would keep it in her pocket.
So following up on the discussion we had about a plan, was there ever any time, and I think you indicated that you never went and grabbed her laptop or whatever, was there ever any time you observed Juliana going to grab her laptop or her phone?
I never observed Juliana grab her laptop or her phone. Juliana also has her own laptop and phone.
Now, what, if anything, was Juliana and what were Juliana and Valerie supposed to be doing on February 24th?
Christine had scheduled for Valerie and Juliana to go to the zoo.
I think that was new. I don't think we knew that Christine had scheduled for them to go to the zoo. Oh, and he's going to try. I think he's going to explain it. I'll let him explain it.
At the main zoo in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Did you have any role in that?
I didn't have any role in planning the trip. I was aware of the trip.
And how did you become aware of the trip?
Christine had told me that that was something they were going to do.
Okay, so you never kind of forced that on her for the 24th?
No, it was also written on our calendar that was shown earlier. Christine had written it on the calendar. She had also written it on Juliana's work schedule in her au pair book.
Now, what, if anything, did you know about the plan for that day for them?
I knew that they were planning to go in the morning. I don't recall if I knew what time they were supposed to go, but I knew they were.
For anyone that missed Juliana's testimony, Juliana is going to say that the zoo trip was they were never going to the zoo. Her and the child were never going to go to the zoo. And the zoo opens at 8 a.m. And so I guess maybe they were trying to say that they would meet first thing. Because I think everyone was out of the home by a certain time, and then Joe Ryan, but yeah, so I would, because with traffic, because I wonder, so a trip to the zoo, depending on how you get there, because you might take the metro to the zoo. Are you going to drive? I would consider it a because it could take, depending on traffic, because I wouldn't leave that early in the morning because you were hitting rush hour traffic. I would get there by like 10 a.m. and it be on my way back before evening. Yes, everything in Nova is an all day trip. I consider me and my son going to Sky Zone a trip because it's just it takes a lot. But how far is the zoo from their home? They lived in Fairfax. It might have been approximately like 20-30 miles. But with traffic, like you have to imagine Northern Virginia traffic, which is not great. And it depends on how you're going to get there. So when I go into DC, I take the metro. So I go to Springfield, which is the furthest metro south for me. It's around Alexandria, Virginia. I go there, and then I normally take the metro into the city. So yeah. Metro is the only way to go to the zoo. So you would have to go and park somewhere. Their house is probably, it could be close. I've never taken the metro from that side. I normally go Alexandria, or I've caught from different places. All right, let's keep it going.
Going in the morning, and I knew that when I saw Juliana in the morning, that's what she was working on doing, was getting Valerie ready. But Juliana had actually asked me to go get Valerie from upstairs. At some point in the morning, I heard Valerie's feet, meaning that she got out of her bed and pounded down the hallway and ran into my room.
Okay.
And so Juliana had asked me to get Valerie because Valerie wasn't in her room, to start getting her ready. So I got Valerie out of my bed, which happened after I had finished getting my equipment ready.
And did you see Christine there?
Yes, when I had gone back upstairs, Christine was there, and she was sitting up. She was sitting up in bed. She had a blanket over her lap. She had both her laptop and her cell phone.
Okay, and what, if anything, did
Okay. Was her laptop found in the room? He's saying she had her laptop and her cell phone, but I wonder if there were confirmation messages. If anybody knows, has been following the digital evidence, were there Telegram messages that morning? His way of responding, because once again, I think there's information that he wants to say to contradict evidence that makes him look guilty. That's just my own personal thought. I don't know that for sure. It seems like it to me.
So when you took Valerie, where did you take her in order to?
Valerie was sleepy. So when I picked her up, she was still kind of limp. And I carried her downstairs to Juliana. and Juliana got her, kind of woke her up gently and changed her out of pajamas and into her clothes for the day.
Okay. Did you take any part in getting ready, get sandwiches ready, get anything like that ready?
No, I was getting ready. I was getting ready to leave myself. I wasn't. Besides collecting Valerie, I wasn't doing anything to help them get ready for the day.
What time did you get out of the house that day? Do you have any recollection?
Roughly 7.
Okay.
A couple minutes after 7.
Would that be a usual time for you to leave?
I would say a more usual time for me to leave is roughly 7:30.
Okay. And in this instance, you were going earlier for what reason?
I was going earlier to just make sure that I had plenty of time in Vienna to get my presentation ready and have the conference room ready for when management was going to inspect my operation and documents for the operation that was supposed to happen on Tuesday.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you said Vienna. Why Vienna?
Vienna is where my office is. We have a couple offices, but that's the one that I'm stationed out of.
That's the home office for you?
Yes, that's my home office. The main office is in Washington, D.C., but this is one of the satellite offices, and that's the one that I work out of.
And what time was that meeting set for?
It was set for 9:30.
Okay, so you left at 7 for what reason?
I left at 7. I was going to go get breakfast, and after breakfast, I was going to get on the 267 toll road and head towards my office.
Okay, and where did you end up going to breakfast that morning?
I went to McDonald's for breakfast.
Okay, is that a common occurrence for you?
I would say that I occasionally go to McDonald's, but I often pick up breakfast on my way to work.
So we're going to skip ahead. He's going to give a lot of useless details. Why? So I guess he went around twice, and he's going to say that his phone didn't scan the first time, that he was having an issue with the app. He's going to talk about, he looks for coupons. He looks for free coupons for hash browns and stuff like that with the orange juice. So if you want to go back and watch the full testimony, I have a link. And there are also other channels that are covering it as well. I want to skip ahead to 7:10 because he's going to try to explain. Oh, we're almost there. So let's talk about why he was in the bathroom for so long. That must be a little bit later. I might have to speed him up a little bit. I'm sorry. Like, this part of the testimony gets a bit, ugh. So I'm going to speed him up just a little bit. I'll slow it down if it's too fast.
Not necessarily McDonald's.
That's a little too fast. Let's do it normal.
Sometimes it's bagel places or place to get an egg sandwich.
Okay,
Things like that.
so it's not uncommon. You don't usually make your breakfast at home?
On the weekend, I usually make
Skip ahead.
You went to the restroom. So what happened then?
The restroom.
as I was finishing up in the restroom.
Oh, okay. I got to go back.
I received.
I got to go back. Sorry about this. I thought I had my spot.
Was the landmark next to your parking space?
It's kind of in front of Chuck E. Cheese, but it's really only a few feet from the exit of the drive-through.
Okay. And so you went there to go eat your sandwich?
Yes, but I started with eating a cookie from Midnight Treats that my friends had brought me for my birthday the day before. If you're familiar with a place like Crumble, they're large cookies.
Okay.
I ate that first.
Okay, so you ate the cookie, and then what happened?
I started my car back up and went back to McDonald's to use the restroom.
Okay. And is that
So he was going to have to explain why he was in the restroom. And he would have been better to say crumble, like, I guess, but he made it more fancy. Like, he had this special cookie that was given to him for a friend for his birthday, and that's the thing that upset his stomach. I would have believed the Egg McMuffin, like that he could have ate the sandwich and his stomach was upset. I would have believed that. I wonder if the jury will watch him walk in and see if it looks like he's, like, in a rush to go to the bathroom, or was he laying in wait? Does he walk in? I don't know. Like, I don't know if the jury will need to go back and look at any of those things. Oh, it was so exhausting, but we got through it. He denied that he ever did anything to Christine's device, and, he tries to say when he left the home, her phone was still in her, like, she still had her phone. So he denies touching her phone. Question, Dr. B, any psych opinion on this crime being the day after his birthday? No. So, I think they started planning in January. I think the bigger thing was when it would fit. I think the bigger part was it fit with this big meeting that he had. So he had this meeting with the undercover, like, they had this big operation they were doing. It was really important. Why would I plan something for that day? He says something to that effect. I think the fact that Joseph Ryan agreed to that day and time. And he also made a statement during his testimony today, something to the effect, I don't know if I wrote down his exact words. He said there was no plan with Juliana, and that that there was a lack of activity from FetLife on certain days. He tried to minimize the fact and be like, "Oh, well, his mother-in-law was visiting." Okay. I get it's just it just feels weird. He also said that it was crazy for someone to think he would make a plan to kill his wife, and then he tried to explain away taking Juliana with him to the shooting range. So if you watch the testimony, him just talking about him and Juliana going to, because he tries to say that he has to pass, he's tested on his weapon, and that he was just going to practice his weapon. But I must have tuned him out for a second. I really didn't understand why Juliana came with him. He tried to explain it. I think I got bored and I probably stopped listening for a minute. I probably did. I was having fun in the chat. There were some questions that I starred. And so this question, Dr. Berry, have you thought of going to this trial? It is in my area. Yes, I could go to this trial. I don't like being without my phone. So if I went and sat in court, I would be exhausted. His lawyer, I would have to, like, put on good behavior. I couldn't be sitting there like, what the like, I couldn't have reactions and stuff. And I don't like seeing crimey stuff in person. Some people do. Some people like that stuff. I don't want to sit in the same courtroom with him. I don't know. I don't want to do that. No thanks. Yeah. Thank you for becoming a member. Let's see. Is he including details to distract from the lies and lies by omission? So my personal thoughts is that when somebody is trying to convince you of something, so if I ask my child, did you eat the cookie? And he's like, Mommy, I had all of this stuff for breakfast and I did this and I played with this, but, like, he doesn't get to my question. I couldn't have eaten the cookie. I was like, you could have still ate the cookie. So sometimes when people aren't being truthful, sometimes they include details that just don't make any sense, but they're trying to look like they're telling the truth. Like, oh my gosh, he provided all of this information. He was so open about past affairs. He was open about the fact that Christine knew about past affairs. So he must be telling the truth here. I don't think so. Not my own personal. It didn't. His credibility, I'm still questioning it a little bit for me personally. And then thank you so much, Oregon Kelly, for gifting 20 memberships. I will be planning a members only live for February. I normally do one. Sometimes my schedule gets weird, but it should be about once a month. I will post on the members community tab. I will post when that is scheduled. Okay. My normal schedule. So I normally go live Tuesdays and Saturdays. Tuesday, it's normally around 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturday, it's normally around 2 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, I will be on Courtroom Confidential. The link to that is over on the community tab. And so if you click on post or community, the link for that is there, or you can go to Courtroom Confidential's page if you would like to come and hang out with me for a little bit there. I need to go find my kiddo. Okay, so people were going back and forth. Sometimes people call me Dr. P, sometimes people call me Dr. B. And when I hear Dr. B, I think of Emily D. Baker's husband, Dr. B. So, but I don't mind, just not Pat. Okay, so I don't go by Pat, anything but Pat. His lawyer, I would just, if I had to see his lawyer in person, and I've said some things, like I don't want to see the family in person. I don't know. Like I like the distance that YouTube gives me. And I live here. I could run into people in person, but and he's innocent until proven guilty. Okay, so the jury could. I don't see something I don't see. I personally, uh, the thing when he's so confident, like I could. It's crazy for somebody to think of something like this. I'm like, oh, is it? Or did you try to plan the perfect crime? When he's like, it doesn't make any sense to do this on the day I have a big presentation, or does it? I don't know. And I would like to see what the jury thinks. We don't know if any jurors will come forward and talk. It's my understanding from people that have reported that have been in the courtroom that when the defense is just going on and on with a certain witness, the state is keeping track of asked and answered, because that happened a few times where, and he was like, did I? And the judge was like, yeah, yeah, you asked and answered. Ooh. And we don't know, because I think there was one expert they were supposed to bring back. Maybe they already did that. I'll have to go back and watch things. This has been a lot. They are supposed to be looking at, I think, jury instructions maybe tomorrow. And then they are going to be in court on Friday. So we will see what happens. I do think the state is going to have some rebuttal witnesses, but the state has been more gracious with our time. The defense has not been gracious with our time. They are moving through his testimony quickly, but I think that's because the state wasn't going to let them dilly-dally and enter 100 pictures of this happy couple. I'm like, you were having an affair. Like, your daughter was there. You didn't call 911. There's just too many red flags for with this one for me. Too many red flags. And so I appreciate you all for being here. I need to go feed my kiddo before hopping on with Josh Ritter on Courtroom Confidential in just a little bit. Thank you all so much. I will see y'all a little later. Have a good one.